This is the first time since Friday where we haven't heard loud explosions. We haven't seen tear gas. We haven't seen looters breaking into businesses around town. That curfew, like you mentioned, started at 7 p.m. And shortly after that, state troopers and DPD went into action to take people into custody. As you can see, Sky 4 video was above, and we were on the ground near Victory Park as law enforcement detained and arrested. As you mentioned, Chief Hall tweeting earlier, at least 30 people have been arrested and sent to jail, and others are being processed for jail. Amid all of that, people were told to stay at home after 7 o'clock, and law enforcement says anyone who would be out protesting would be arrested. Meanwhile, there were some peaceful acts of protesting earlier today. Mark Cuban and multiple players from the Mavs participated in a vigil for George Floyd at DPD headquarters, also at Clyde Warren Park, and at Freeman Cemetery in the Uptown area. There were multiple peaceful protests. Take a listen at why Chief Hall says it was important to make this change.
We will not tolerate what we are seeing right now. We are instituting a curfew. I have requested from the mayor, and he has signed a declaration, emergency declaration, giving us authority to institute a curfew that will begin at 7 p.m. We're playing chess, not checkers. And so we need to make sure that we are looking at intelligence, that we are making sure that we have enough resources, and we are getting those resources by our other law enforcement partners. And then we're aggressive in our enforcement efforts as it relates to arrests and those individuals who are violating the law. And that's how we began to put an end to it.
Again, tonight, multiple streets are blocked off, mainly in the entertainment districts, Deep Ellum, Uptown, of course, the downtown business district area by law enforcement right now because of that 7 o'clock curfew. We talked to some peaceful protesters about the curfew. Here's what one had to say.
I do believe that to some extent, there is an effort to oppress or silence protesters, but at the same time, I do understand that there are businesses and people and destruction of property. But I will say, property can be rebuilt, commodities can be replaced. George Floyd can't.
Yesterday, Governor Greg Abbott activated the National Guard. So far today and pretty much tonight, we have not seen any National Guard members, but the governor's office did say that they stand ready to assist local law enforcement. Today, DPS, we saw a lot more DPS troopers here, Blake, as they detained and arrested upwards of 30 to 40 protesters tonight violating the curfew.
And Stephen, from helicopter, we haven't seen a lot of people at this point in time. You seen anyone around you?
No, really just people walking their dogs, and I know some people may kind of have breathing a sigh of relief that it's not a lot of activity, because basically for the past almost 48 hours, the downtown area has basically been on lockdown. So as you can see, some cars going behind me, some people getting through because you are able to enter the restricted area if you live in that area or if you have to work in these areas that are under the curfew.
Okay, good to know. Thanks, Stephen.